Hey guys, Dean of DVD or Dean of Games, depending on which channel you're watching this on. And I just wanted to say hi to everybody and let you know here's some stuff I recently picked up in the board game arena. So I'll let you know about each one of them. This is an expansion for a game called Ticket to Ride, a very popular board game for families in particular, but really for anybody. It's like the Monopoly of the modern age, I guess. And the way it works is you've got various tickets that you have to try to complete. So it might be from Los Angeles to New York, for instance, a long route in the USA version. In the Europe version, it may be from someplace in Russia to France or something. And this expansion, the 1912 expansion, introduces some additional routes and some additional concepts, something called train depots and warehouses, so a little more complexity to the game. So you're selecting these cards to try to match up for your route. Different routes require different amounts of color, or so you might need 6 red cards in order to go from one place to the other. And that you grab those, and once you have those 6, then you can form a train between those two places. And so if you're going to Los Angeles to New York, it might be Los Angeles to Dallas, Texas, Dallas, Texas to Mississippi, Mississippi to someplace in Virginia, and so on up to New York. But each one of those routes requires a certain number of color and amounts of trains. 5 black trains, one might be 3 blue trains, maybe 2 red trains. And you are picking the colors that have those color trains on it, and then once you complete that, when you lay those cards down to have those 5, then at that point you can put your color trains, plastic trains, on that route to cover between those 2 intermediary cities. And then finally, if you run the stretch all the way from Los Angeles to New York, you're going to get some additional points for that. So it's a fun game. This is the 1912 expansion. So there's that. Next, if you've ever played a role-playing game, it's a really interesting concept. Another game just came in today. I haven't even opened it. I've started to take the plastic off, or it started to take itself off. But it's called Role Player. Not R-O-L-E, but R-O-L-L Player. But what it's basically done, if we've all seen the intelligence, strength, dexterity, wisdom, skill, thievery, whatever the skills are. Well, what this says is you get a bunch of different types of characters. Like the example here they show, if you can see it, is an elf here at the bottom. And it's going to have like intelligence or whatever the thing is. And then there's going to be 3 spots. And each one of those you can give it a certain amount of points. The way you do that is with dice. You're going to reach into a bag. There's the bag here. Pull out one of many different colored die. I think there's, I don't know how many different colored dice there are. Certainly red, yellow, white, black, green, purple, blue. And whatever handful you maybe draw 2, you roll those, and then that number then you could put on here. 6 obviously would be the best number. So you want to try to get your ability up to 18, 6, 6, and 6. Now, some of your cards, and there's a bunch of these different cards in here, will say, if you get the first one and the third one are purple here, you get extra bonus points for that. So now you want to try to not only match up the high numbers, but certain colors to give you the bonuses. So pretty neat game. And I understand the expansion for this is going to allow you to take this character once you've created it. Because basically once you create the character and meet your criteria, the game's done. But the expansion is going to allow you to first create the character and then take that created character with these points and actually do something with it. Go fight each other, or fight monsters, or type of thing. So I think that's going to be really great. But even this concept I really like. I like the dice roll. I like building this kind of a table and the challenge of where to put this die. Now that I rolled a 5, where do I put the 5, and where do I put a 1? So it's in a way, I guess you could say it's a little like Yahtzee, because Yahtzee's like that, right? I got a crappy roll. Where do I put it? I want to save my Yahtzee just in case I can get 5 of a kind, because that's big points. But maybe I better put a 0 in Yahtzee rather than lose out on my full house, because that's 25 points. It's kind of that kind of a concept, but much more in depth, because the colors matter. The different characters make for a different game. Each time you choose a different character, they have different abilities and so on. Some of them allow you to change the dice, swap 2 dice out. That's one of their abilities. move a dice from maybe one number to the next, like move a 5 to a 6 or a 3 to a 4, that type of thing. So really interesting game. Looking forward to Role Player. The next one was one that I've looked at it a million times, never really seriously considered it. But the guy, the owner of the board game store, he said he didn't think he had it in stock. He said, well, if we ever get it in stock again, you ought to look at it. And then I happened to be looking. I said, wait, is this it? And he said, oh, I didn't think we had any because it's out of print right now. I mean, it'll come back. But this one is, it's a little marked up. It's been on the shelf for a while, but I can deal with that. It's not marked up badly. I'm good. It's called Legendary Encounters. And you can see this. This is an alien deck building game. So what happens is you've got a deck of cards, and it's a cooperative game, in that up to I think it's 1 to 5, 1 to 5 players can play. So I can play by myself, or I can play with somebody else, and we are both trying to defeat the alien, get off the planet. That's the idea. It comes with a really nice rubber mat that sits on your table nicely, and has different spots for different cards and so on. There's different cards in the game that you get. And these cards are either aliens that are attacking you, or it could be like a gun or something like that. If it's possible that you can start out as a character, let's say Ripley, and have a face squatter, whatever they call one of these dudes, get on your face. If that happens, you have 1 turn to get it off. If by your next turn, if the other people can't get that off your face, then the next step is you've got one of those things planted in your gut. And you get 1 turn again to get that out of your gut. If you don't, then you put a card in your deck that you use to kind of go through the game. But that card is now the exploding thing through the stomach. And when that happens, your character is dead, and you turn into an alien. So there's aliens already around, trying to get you. But now you turn into an alien, and you get a deck that you can then go out against what used to be your cooperative group. Now you're against them. So really interesting concept there. Like I say, you can play with 1 player. When you can die in it. You want to avoid the face huggers. That's what they're called. And then, what it says, here we go. We gotta just read this. Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game, is a cooperative game set in the alien universe. Players will take on the roles of a commander, gunner, synthetic, or any of the 10 role cards while recruiting powerful allies such as Ripley, Corporal Dwayne Hicks, or Christie the Mercenary. Legendary Encounters will take players on a terrifying journey through all 4 feature films, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. Well, we don't talk about a couple of those. As they work together to complete challenging mission objectives. Scan rooms, attack xenomorphs, avoid facehuggers, and try to avoid the ultimate death, becoming the victim of a ravenous chestbuster. If a player's fate is destined to this horrific demise, then that player will take on the role of a xenomorph and try to stop the other players from completing their mission objectives. Work together or die trying. Welcome to Legendary Encounters, an alien deck-building game. So 600 playable cards, all original art, huge 14.5 by 13 by 33 inch, 14.5 by 33 inch rubber playmat area, a rule book, and divider cards. So really looking forward to this. Heard a lot of good things about it. I'm really anxious to pop that open, which I will be doing shortly. Wow, this game's heavy. Do an unboxing of all these. This thing is the heaviest game I own, I think, of this size anyway. It just feels like a brick. I'm really excited about this one, though. This is one of the first games that I wanted. And they wanted $80 for it, different places. I was not going to pay that. So I got it for $42 on sale online. And I did go for it. Oh my God. It's called Tales of the Arabian Nights. This is a storytelling game. So what happens here is you've got a bunch of cards and a board. And I like games that have cards, boards, and dice. And this one has cards, boards, and dice. But less dice, I think. Is there dice in this game? Yeah, there is. 1 destiny die and 2 6-sided die. What happens is you'll go to some place on the board. You might get a mission or a quest to go to. It doesn't matter. So some city. So you go to this city, and when you are there, you may encounter, let's say, an old beggar. And then you're given a choice of things you can choose to do. And you might give the beggar some money. Might be one of the options. curse at the beggar and tell him he's a bum and to get out of your way. You might just ignore him and try to walk by him. You might spit at him. You might mock him with others that are mocking him. Based upon what you do, then, and your characteristics, it may say, okay, there's a book in here that it's pretty thick, which is what the weight is. It's a thick book. And it might say, turn to page 603, look at column 3, item number 4. Be maybe 3 big long paragraphs. It'll say, do you have strength greater than 5? No. Do you have a charisma greater than 6? No. Okay, now I read this paragraph. And then it may say, based on your choice, the beggar curses you. He pulls out a monkey's paw and curses you and says that you are doomed to live the life of poverty. Lose all your money and you must go to such and such a place and begin to beg for your living. That could happen. Or you could find a wondrous magical lamp and find a genie that'll give you all your wishes. All that and more is possible in the Tales of the Arabian Nights. I've seen it played. I've never played it. I've seen it played. It looks great. Really excited to have this in my collection. That's the Tales of the Arabian Nights. Pretty cool shit, if you ask me. The next one is a game called, wow, it's much lighter. I thought this was a pretty heavy one. I kind of, compared to the other one, I can hold it with one hand. Inish, it's called. Love the artwork on this. At first I wasn't sure if I did, but the more I look at this, the reds and the browns and the golds, I really do like the artwork. It's very different and original looking. Even the sky is different and original looking. So this game, Inish, is based on Celtic or Irish lore, legends, and beautiful cards, beautiful board, beautiful pieces. What it says is, immerse yourself in Celtic legends. At the head of your ship, you eagerly search for any sign of land. As you peer through the dissipating mist, it finally gives way to the silhouettes of cliffs. You have arrived at your new home. Now your clans can partake in a new era of prosperity. Rival chieftains also set sail for the same land, and soon the time will come to hold the great council and elect the High King of Inish, or Inish, maybe. Will you be the one who ascends the throne? Well, of course I will be. In Inish, you play the role of a Celtic chieftain who has just arrived in a new land. You must construct sanctuaries for spiritual enlightenment, erect citadels to protect peaceful clans, and indulge your wanderlust by exploring the surrounding territories. As clans migrate throughout the land and come to coexist, their differences can lead to clashes, which are often resolved peacefully, but not always. Demonstrate your leadership by rallying clans to your cause, and then the Great Council will have no choice but to bestow the crown on you. 66 highly detailed plastic figures accompany this game. And it has a map, and I even like the way the map is done, but the map is done in pieces. You can see these white pieces here, and a stack here. You flip these over, you shuffle them, and there's a bunch of them, and then you add it. It'll fit in. The puzzle pieces fit in anywhere. You can add it anywhere around the map, and that'll add another section. And then your goal is to have your various pieces, your share of the 66 pieces here on the different pieces of the land, and that allows you to ultimately be considered the king. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the simplicity of it. So it's 1912, the expansion for Ticket to Ride Europe edition. It's the role player game. Really looking forward to it, where you set up a character, an RPG character. I don't get to play him, but I think the idea is the dice rolling and stuff. The legendary encounters. The guy who owns the board game store's finest, best game he ever played, he said. And I got, even though it's out of print, he had one copy left. Or he's just a marketing genius and he tricked me, but I don't think so. The heavy, and really heavy, Tales of the Arabian Nights. And last but not least, Inish, the Celtic game of land superiority. All these games, if you haven't played a lot of modern board games, are a lot of fun. They get your brain working, get you thinking, and get you to have some sort of interaction with people rather than video games and things like that. Highly recommend you get into board games if you haven't already. All right, guys, thanks. Dean of DVD and Games, take care.